Hey, this is Grant Arthur with Grant's Rock Warehouse, and today, you guessed it, we've got another Matthew Sweet episode. Today, Todd Evans and I are going to look at Girlfriend and Altered Beast. Girlfriend was released October 22nd, 1991. It was recorded in 1990 for A&M. A&M shelved it. They rejected the record. It sat on a shelf for a year and was picked up by Zoo Entertainment. This record was recorded at Axis Studios in New York City, produced by Fred Mayer and Matthew Sweet. The personnel on this record is very similar to what came before on Earth. You've got Matthew Sweet on vocals, guitar, bass, and piano, Lloyd Cole on guitar. At the same time, Lloyd Cole was also recording a record at Axis Studios, so Matthew Sweet's on that record too. Robert Quine's playing guitar, Richard Lloyd's playing guitar, Ivan Julian's playing guitar, Greg Leese is pedal steel and guitar. There's all kinds of people playing guitar on this. Fred Mayer's playing drums as well as what I said he was co-producer. Matthew Sweet recorded this record following his divorce. He later said to Rolling Stone, "It's funny how the album ended up showing everything I needed to feel. Everything I needed as an antidote is here." And if you listen to this record, I mean, it is all about divorce. It's not the most uplifting record on the planet. But as you can see here, sorry the text is so small, but this record is jam-packed full of tracks. And everything was written by Matthew Sweet. If you want to read that, you can pause it. But what I did, I listed all the tracks, and then to the right, what guitar player is playing the lead guitar on it. So there you go. You can soak that all in. All Music gave this record 5 stars, and I can't argue with that. Altered Beast. That came out July 13th of 93. It was also on Zoo. Richard Dashut and Matthew Sweet produced it. There are a plethora of musicians on here too. You've got Mick Fleetwood, Jody Stevens of Big Star, Pete Thomas from The Attractions, and then you've got that great guitar lineup of Richard Lloyd, Robert Quine, and Ivan Julian. Nicky Hopkins also makes an appearance. And Malcolm McDowell's vocals from Caligula make an appearance too. Sometimes I wish they didn't include that, but you know, whatever, it's fine. But all the tracks were written by Matthew Sweet. They're all listed here. All Music gave this a 4.5-star review. So it's almost right up there with Girlfriend. Not quite. But again, I love this record. So Todd, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you today. How was
I'm
your
good,
day?
thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. We're back in the saddle.
And what do
Doing
you
this
say
again.
about two? What do you say about two records that are so good that you almost just want to say, yeah, they're real good? I mean,
I mean, folks, this might be a short discussion, but we're inclusive here. We're going through the entire Matthew Sweet catalog for anyone who's just tuning in and aren't familiar with what we've been doing. The last 2 episodes we did were Inside and Earth, and then before that, Todd and I rated the Matthew Sweet albums, and we did like our top 10. So this is number, I don't know, 5 in the series? I don't know. But anyway,
Four.
yeah, this 4. This could be a short episode because really both of these records are quite good. And Matthew Sweet Girlfriend, which I've already mentioned before, is my favorite Matthew Sweet record. But I'm going to turn it over to my co-pilot Todd and get his take on it.
okay.
Todd, what do you got for me today?
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention is I believe that Lloyd Cole album that was recorded around the same time is called Lloyd Cole, and then I think the one after that is called X.
All
And
right, we're missing one in between.
are we missing one in between?
Don't
Okay.
get, what is it
I
called?
didn't look
Don't
this up,
get
so
Something for Me, Baby.
don't get
Something.
weird on me, baby.
That's the record. That came out in
Okay.
91. And Matthew
Okay.
Sweet's all over that. And of course, he's all over the album that came out before. So that would be just Lloyd Cole.
Yeah. Okay.
Both of those albums,
I
people,
didn't look that up.
yeah, but both of those records are great records. I'm
Yeah,
going to
they
say
are.
that. I love Lloyd Cole.
Me too.
But during this time, you know, Lloyd, Matthew Sweet were kind of going back and forth on each other's stuff. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
So about Girlfriend, it's really pretty amazing that if you consider that, and we've mentioned this before, that Matthew Sweet switched gears and made a record that was very, very different from the two records that he made before then, and that he did it for his label that he was already on. He did it for A&M, which had already released one of his other albums. And I mean, you can look at, there's a different style of Matthew Sweet, portraying kind of a different personality than on the two albums before this one. Mm-hmm. So he kind of reinvented himself, and why A&M didn't want this record, I really don't have any idea. I think they might have just been stung by the lack of success from the one that they did put out, and they might have thought, well, if they might have envisioned him going in a different direction, and when he didn't do what they wanted, they might have just said, well, we don't have the patience for
That's probably
dealing with how to market this.
I don't think they ever really knew what to do with him, because Inside was kind of all over the place to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And then, Columbia dumped him, and then he jumped over to A&M, so he's just jumping labels. I don't think anybody really knew what to do.
And then at A&M, the record that he did at A&M, Earth, was also a little bit all over the place, slightly more focused, but still a little bit like you're not quite sure what he's trying to do. But I mean, this album, it starts out with a song where the guitar starts on one side and the drums are on the other side, and the drums are everything is really stripped down and kind of sparse, and there's no reverb and all that kind of stuff. And so it starts out that way. And there is one thing that I will say about this record that's negative, and I really have, and it's just barely negative, but I really have the same thing to think about both of today's albums that we're featuring. But I think they're just a tiny bit too long. And here, I'll explain what I'm talking about. I think this record flows better. And when I say tiny bit, I mean just a little bit. I think this record flows better if you take out Does She Talk? And the last three songs being Your Sweet Voice, Holy War, Nothing Lasts. That's just my opinion.
I'm looking at the track listing now.
I feel like Does She Talk doesn't fit. And it seems like a good B-side. So...
Well, you know why that track's on there? They were having such a good time in the studio. They just kept recording. So I don't know if Does She Talk was really supposed to be on there, or Holy War. I don't think those are on the vinyl, on the original pressing of the vinyl. I don't think those last three songs are on there.
Okay.
But
well, there's a little gap. There's a little on the CD. There's a little space, which sort of suggests that maybe those are bonus tracks. But not having Nothing Lasts on there wouldn't make any sense, and ending with Your Sweet Voice wouldn't make any sense. Well, that's coming from somebody who's used to it like this.
But you know how you said that has that vinyl where, it's like you're flipping the record over?
Yeah.
The original vinyl pressing of that doesn't have that on there.
Okay.
That was just for the CD. Just
a
little bit of trivia, kids. So,
Interesting thing, too, another bit of trivia that I think we've talked about this before, but I didn't realize it was Tuesday Weld's objection that this was called Nothing Lasts, because it has a picture of her on it. And she didn't really want to have her picture on something called Nothing Lasts. No. So that's a really interesting little piece of information. And I think she made a good call.
I mean, Girlfriend's a much better title.
It is, and it's such a great cover, and not just the photo. I mean, yeah, the photo's great, but the design, everything about it is it's a great cover. If I had to pick it would definitely make a top 20 covers for me, and possibly even a top 10. But these songs are so great. Divine Intervention is great. The way it starts out, it being kind of sparse, and I've Been Waiting is a great jangly pop song. Girlfriend is great. Looking at the Sun and Winona, especially Winona, I think Winona is just a fabulous song. Again, pretty much stripped down. Not a whole lot of there's some space in it. Yeah. I love this album. I think Don't Go is great. The funny thing about Don't Go is I'll talk later about how the last four songs on this album are kind of a real highlight of his career. And I think Don't Go kind of fits in that space where the last 4 tracks on this album. I think it's a similar sounding kind of a song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had this record and I didn't hear it till 93. And it was one of those things that was just kicking around and I knew it was out there. And I lived in Athens, but I sort of missed Matthew Sweet. I was there from well, I didn't miss him. I was there from 84 and I graduated in 87 and then I stayed in town until 93. But so
But
I
he
mean
would
he
have.
was there when I was there, but
I
I
was
was in
gonna say.
school and I didn't really notice him. But so I mean I knew who he was, but I didn't know anything about his first 2 records.
Did you
I
ever
didn't
see
know.
him like around town or any playing
No.
anywhere? Or
No.
okay? Did you see them at all?
I did. I never saw them. I saw something that Linda Hopper did with someone, and it was just one of those things where they showed up and played at the 40 watt, and if you knew about it, you knew about it, and I just happened to be there for whatever reason. But I wish I had the details on that. I should have looked that up. But no, I didn't know what he looked like when this album came out. Two years went by until I had it. And my brother-in-law bought it for me for my birthday because he thought that I would like it. And but I was really taken by it because I mean there are a lot of people. I listened to a lot of prog rock and I listened to a lot of alternative rock, but most of
Mm.
the stuff that I listened to was not as what's the word I'm looking for? Was not as stripped down and not as didn't have this kind of sound that this record has.
I would say
I
this is
might,
very intimate.
yeah, I might have heard this record at a different time, maybe a year or two before that, and went,
Hmm.
yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. I don't really like it that much. It's not, you know, but when I heard it, it was just the right time to hear it, and I remember I was really taken by it, and I can remember being surprised that I liked it as much as I did.
Hmm.
Um, but from there on, it was a no-brainer to get all the rest of them because I got so attached to Girlfriend that I always wanted to hear what he was going to do next. So are we rating these records? Should we rate these out of 10?
Well, we can. Well, we might as well. Well, then we'll rank all the ones we've already ranked so far.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah, and I might give it a different rating than what I said. Do we rate them or did we rank them? I don't remember. And I don't remember whether we did out of 5 or out of
We,
10.
I think, I don't. I'm not really a stickler on that. Whatever you want, you can
But
do
I
it.
would give this today, I would
Hmm.
give it a 8.5 out of 10.
Wow,
Only because only because I have somewhere to go because it's not my favorite.
I know, but but Todd, you have to admit, from where Matthew was in '89 to where he went in '91 was just a giant leap in songwriting,
Maturity, yeah, it's absolutely
maturity.
incredible. And I think he
This,
did it himself.
yeah.
I mean, there wasn't anybody pushing him.
Well, that
I think,
divorce will make you grow
yeah,
up pretty fast too.
yeah,
I mean, people write from pain. So all these songs, well, obviously, I mean, you could go through them. You can just look at the song titles and tell.
yeah,
He was working through this whole divorce. It's just, but through that pain, we've got a masterpiece. And, you know, for the most part, you look at Rolling Stone Record Guide, or you look at Trouser Press, or you look at whatever. Everybody rates this record really high, you know, either 4 stars or 5 stars.
yeah. If we're
But
doing
you're
stars, I'm doing 4.5.
okay. If we're doing stars, I'm doing 5. And if I'm doing numbers out of 10, I'm going 10 out of 10 and 5 out of
Okay.
5. This is one of those records I would take to a desert island. This is one of those records I never get tired of. I've told this probably before, but I heard this record. There was an alternative station in Columbus called CD 101, and they had Matthew Sweet in this. Was it? Yeah, I believe they did. Or they had an interview with him, and they were playing cuts from it. And this was '91. This was Girlfriend, and I heard it must have been Evangeline or Girlfriend, and I just heard those tracks, and it just took me like a biblical moment, like the
Yeah,
sea parted. I went,
Evangeline and I've Been Waiting were the first two that stood out.
and I
where I
just was
thought something
so
special was
taken by
happening
the whole
here.
thing,
Yeah.
you know. But I think they were doing like a radio interview, and he was going to play in town like within a week or 2 weeks, and he ended up playing the Alrosa Villa in Columbus, which is now torn down. For those who know what the Alrosa Villa is, that's where Dimebag Darrell got murdered,
Oh, okay.
but they've since torn it down. But normally, that's a metal club. And Matthew Sweet was booked, I think maybe at Stashes, which is a small club. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. And he sold so many tickets, they had to find a bigger venue. So they put him at the Alrosa, which was really bizarre because he was not metal at all. But they had to find a place to put him pretty fast because the tickets were just selling.
Yeah.
So saw him at the Alrosa and later saw him on the Girlfriend tour at Bogart's in Cincinnati. And that
Okay.
was a great. So I saw him twice on Girlfriend. I mean, I was so into it. Giddy. I was giddy, Todd.
I didn't see him until later, unfortunately.
So
But
anyway, I was just into it. So I picked up this record and I just thought it was brilliant. I mean, like I said, the reviews on this are all 5-star, 4-star. Divine. Talk about a great opening side. Well, I'm used with the CD, but you know, the first 5 tracks, 6 tracks on here,
yeah.
the sequencing, the way everything flows, the songwriting, the production. And I know I've
Every,
mentioned this before, the production on here, Matthew Sweet had never heard Neil Young and Crazy Horse, and I can't remember who turned him on to it. Maybe I think it might have been the engineer. I might have told that story before. But that's what he was influenced by. He was unaware of Neil Young and Crazy Horse. And if you're aware of that, they're very upfront, kind of dry and raw. That's what this record was influenced by. And there's no reverb on it at all. And I think that there are probably very few overdubs. I don't know how they. It sounds very live. If you have like a nice stereo and a good set of speakers, it almost sounds as though Matthew Sweet and the band is playing right in your living room. It's that.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And
And I was reading this today that apparently, according to the engineer, a guy named Jim
okay,
Rodnelli,
yeah.
that Robert Quine would get something going in the first couple of takes with his solos, and then he'd get really down on himself and defeatist and self-loathing, and then they would do more takes and more takes, and by the time it got to the fourth or the fifth take, he was like really on fire. And so what they did with the guitar, one of the few things that they edited for this album is that some of the guitar solos they took pieces from different takes,
Okay.
and I certainly hope they played it for him and said, "See, you're great." No need to worry.
But man, that was the other thing that I was taken with this record back when I first heard it was the guitar playing.
Yeah, and I've heard people complain about how it's too busy and there's too much lead,
Nah.
and that would be normally something that I might say, but not for some reason. It's just perfect for this.
Yeah, everything just fits together perfectly. And you know
And
what? It's kind of funny because sometimes I get Richard Lloyd and Robert Quine kind of mixed up because they both
oh, I
have
still do.
similar. They have very similar sounds and very similar playing styles. But I couldn't imagine this record without it because
No.
they start on off in a solo, and you just think they're like in a rocket ship taking off from Earth. It's just like a
Yeah, and you mentioned the sequencing. I mean, if you
uh-huh,
take the first 6 songs,
right.
Divine Intervention, I've Been Waiting, Girlfriend, Looking at the Sun, Winona, and Evangeline, all 6 of them are different.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're listening to this record for the first time, you're like not hearing anything twice. I mean, it's
No.
like you're not hearing any similarities. You're thinking, oh, that's different. Oh, that's different. And it just keeps going like that. Another thing I noticed, and I just noticed this just like right now, just looking at this. If you take tracks 8 through 11 and
Mm-hmm.
15, it literally is like a timeline of a divorce. Thought I knew you. You don't love me. I wanted to tell you. Don't go. Nothing lasts. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of hits. It's
I never really thought about it, but you are
chronology.
totally on, Todd. You are totally right. And I think your sweet voice must have something to do, because he said this also
I think so too.
This
Yeah.
also had something to do with newfound love or relationship too. He
Yeah.
must have been in a in-between period in his life, I think.
Yeah.
It's not all doom and gloom,
No.
but Nothing Lasts is pretty, well, it's not very uplifting, but boy, is it
No.
a beautiful track.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just Matthew and Robert Coyne together. Beautiful. But, yeah, I don't know. 5 out of 5 and 10 out of 10 for me. Easy. Easy. I can't think of anything else we can... I don't think I have anything else I could really plug on it. I can plug that...
Everybody should have it.
Everybody should have it. I will plug this, though, and I have no affiliation with Intervention Records, but they've reissued this out on Super Audio CD, and I think you can still get it. They did Altered Beast, 100% Fun. What else did they do? They did another one. I don't know, but they just had like a sale where they're doing 50% off on them.
Oh, that much?
Yeah. Some
Okay.
of them you can get signed by Matthew Sweet.
All right.
I've got Girlfriend, which is signed by Matthew, but if you're looking for these, I would go over to the Intervention Records site and see what they've got. They could be running a sale, 4th of July sale for all I know. But yeah, Super Audio CDs, and they're dual layer, so you can play them on a regular CD player.
And if you find them in the used CD store for $3, buy that one too.
Yeah. I'll be quite honest. The regular CD that came out in '91 has to be my favorite. I think the mastering on it's great. I didn't see any real reason to remaster this CD anyway. It didn't need it.
Yeah.
But if you want to support Matthew, there are autographed copies, or there were, on the Intervention Record site. But anyway, why don't we pop over to Altered Beast? There you go. All right, I'm ready. Todd, why don't you take it away? Give me your thoughts on this one.
Okay, so Altered Beast, when it came out, I was really into this one. And, I didn't hear this till 93. So this came out in 93. So right. I was ready for a new one.
Ready.
And so to me, it felt like, okay, well, here's another great album, and I can just put them together. I can put, well, you couldn't fit it on a 90 because both albums are too long, but I could put one album on one side of the tape and maybe cut a few songs out, and then put the other album on the other side of the tape, and you've got continuous listening. But this record I was automatically excited about because it's co-produced by Richard Dashett of Fleetwood Mac fame. Guy's name is on Rumors and Tusk, and
I think he's still on the Fleetwood Mac catalog whenever they put out a new record. I still think Lindsay works with him. Maybe I'm not 100%
sure. Up until Tango, I think.
Oh, was that it? Okay.
Yeah, because after that comes. But Richard Dashett produced Lindsey Buckingham's "Out of the Cradle" from 90, whenever that was from.
90. Why do I want to say 93 or 96, something like that?
Yeah. So I was automatically excited about it. This is a very different production, though, for Richard Dashett. It's very organic, and I mean, not that Richard Dashett's records are not that way, but the work that he did with Fleetwood Mac is a little crisper. It's a little cleaner, and this is just sort of slightly dirty sounding. It fits the music perfectly. And it's not that far off from the way this one sounds. So I don't have any complaints at all about the production of it. And it's still got the multiple lead guitar in your face, kind of thing that Girlfriend had. So it's stylistically, it's not far off. I will say the same thing though about this album that I said about Girlfriend, is I think it can be I think it could be 2 tracks shorter. the two different versions of Ugly Truth. I think I said when we talked about this when we ranked the albums that I liked them both. I think I like Ugly Truth Rock better. And there's something about the track 3 version of the Ugly Truth that I think it's the violin, but I feel like it meanders a little bit, and that the Ugly Truth Rock, which is later on in the chronology, sounds a little bit more fully formed. And I'm not crazy about well, In Too Deep is okay, and I don't like Intro. I don't like the Caligula
Yeah,
dialogue.
I could do without that.
It doesn't, I don't. I love that kind of stuff, and I'm a big Supertramp fan, and I love when bands put in dialogue and parts from movies and things like that. But for some reason, that doesn't work for me. Uh, but the thing that "Devil with the Green Eyes" is an absolute Dinosaur Act. I should start there. The first track is a really great opener, but "Devil with the Green Eyes" is just an absolutely perfect song, and I can't think of anything to say about it other than I just think it's absolutely perfect. Time Capsule is great. Someone to Pull the Trigger is great. My favorite part of the album is the last 4 tracks, Reaching Out, Falling, What Do You Know, and Evergreen. And I think out of those, Falling is my favorite. But there's something about those tracks melodically. There's something magical happening there, and I'm not. I'm at a loss as to how to describe it. I wish that we could play it some of these for you without getting a copyright strike.
Yeah,
But
I wish.
there's something about those 4 tracks all in a row ending the record. Any single one of those could have ended the record, and I would have been satisfied. It could have ended after Reaching Out, it could have ended after Following, it could have ended after What Do You Know or Evergreen. And the fact that there's so many good tracks, stacked at the end when the first part of it was also so good. And this is the same problem I think I had when I talked about it last time, is that you almost hate to say Girlfriend is better, just looking at the quality of the songs, separately. But so for that, I have to say they're tied. I think
Yeah, because I don't.
they're just as good as each other. Girlfriend sounds a little better sonically, but that's really the best way I can sum it up.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, if there's a CD there that I thought needed remastering, see, that's what kind of surprised me, because the production, like on Rumors and Tusk, and
Yeah.
it's very crisp. This doesn't even sound like a production of, I just always wondered if this is it the mastering that's bad on this, or is it just murky and muddy because they threw in the kitchen sink and
Maybe.
saturated the recording tape with.
I get the impression that I don't think Matthew Sweet's ever said that he expected more of a Fleetwood Mac light production out of this, but he has said that he wished that he would taken some time to sit down and talk to Richard about his experiences producing Fleetwood Mac, and apparently they never had time to do that. But I don't know why it sounds like it does. I really don't.
I mean, the material is so strong on here. Would I have liked to have had it more with that upfront Girlfriend type of production? I think I might. I'd like to have seen it, because
it doesn't go so far to disintegrate the lead all over the place feeling, the lead guitar all over the place feeling you get from Girlfriend. That's still intact.
Right.
It's just the general sound of the rhythm section that is just a little bit not quite as well defined.
No, but like I
but
said,
you get used to it.
You get used to it. Yeah.
I get used to it, and I expect the album to sound like that, and so I don't know if I could even go so far as to say that that's a strike against it, like a negative, because it just is what it is. It's Altered Beast, and it's great, and it's the only way I've ever heard it. So
I mean, this is a close second to Girlfriend as far as the quality of songwriting. like you said, Evergreen. You could have taken all those tracks at the end of, well, I guess it was side 2. I don't know. This at the end of the CD, those 4 tracks at the end, Reaching Out, Into, Deep Falling, What Do You Know? Those are classic. All of those could have ended the record perfectly. Life Without You is a great track. Knowing People, Someone to Pull the Trigger. Someone to Pull the Trigger made an appearance on the Good Friend promo CD.
Yeah.
I think that was, I don't know if they recorded that at a radio station. So that predates this album.
I'd go so far to say that Someone to Pull the Trigger might be his best vocal performance. His vocal performance on that song is really good. I feel like it's near the top of his range, and there's just a lot of emotional power in it, and that's what stands out to me on that song.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite tracks on there, and Evergreen and Falling and Reaching Out. But it starts out with a Dinosaur Act. What a great opening track. Devil with the Green Eyes. That was a CD single. That's really hard to find.
Yeah.
But I've got it. I should have pulled it. I failed you people because I didn't pull it. But I think this record, I can't rate it high as Girlfriend because Girlfriend's my favorite, but I would give this probably 4.5 and maybe a 9 out of 10. There's really no fault. I can skip over that intro part.
Yeah.
The Caligula thing. I don't need to hear that, but
yeah, I pretty much rate it the same. I would give it an 8 out of 10 and out of a star rating of 4.5.
I mean, the only reason I'm deducting anything, I think the songs are just as strong as what was on Girlfriend, but the production just kind of takes it down a notch for me. But you know, I've been listening to this record since '93. I'm used to it. It's fine.
Right,
it's not like I'm having an issue with it. But I also wonder how this record would have been if you maybe remixed it.
I wonder about that too.
I'm not usually a big fan of remixing stuff because I'd rather go with how the artist originally had it.
Same here. Sometimes it really does help, though.
Right. And I wonder if maybe it was more in the mixing stage of it as opposed to the recording stage. I don't know. I wasn't there. I have no idea. I'm just talking out my ass. But like I said, I'd give this a 9 out of 10 and a 4.5 out of 5. I love all the songs. There are also songs on the Super Audio CD, because not during this time period, if anybody remembers, a lot of bands, you know, the 45 was no longer being pressed anymore. And what artists used to do would put out singles, like 5-inch or 3-inch singles. So Matthew Sweet was one of those artists, and he put out Devil with the Green Eyes on a CD single, The Ugly Truth, and I think, what was the other one? Time Capsule, maybe? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I used to have
bonus
some of
tracks.
those.
Yeah. There were bonus tracks on those. And those bonus tracks are absolutely killer. In fact, I said this before in our videos. I think a lot of Matthew Sweet's material, the stuff that he would put on a B-side or on a CD single that wasn't on the album was so strong, it could have been stronger than some of the material that's on the actual CD. I would have yanked something off and put those on there.
I think about that too, and I have kind of the same feeling about Matthew Sweet as I do about Paddy McAloon from Prefab Sprout. The stuff that he throws away is way too good to be thrown away.
Same with The Cure.
Yeah.
There are some great Cure B-sides. And, you know, this is jumping, we're changing the topic, but right. The Cure have that box set of B-sides and all that stuff, which I highly recommend. But Robert Smith was the guy must never quit writing music. He just must have constantly churned stuff out. But check that out. There's just brilliant stuff on there too. But
I wanted to Go ahead. I'm
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead. No, I
I
was
was
just going
gonna.
to say that Matthew Sweet too is another one of those artists that has so much extra material, soundtracks,
Mhm.
compilations, that Carpenter set where everybody did covers
Yeah.
of Carpenter songs. He was he was a busy guy,
Yeah.
but a lot of great stuff, you know.
I wanted to
So
mention something. I found this on the Wikipedia page, but there are some clips from reviews, and
mhm.
Rolling Stone wrote that the album Altered Beast had inspiring moments. The problem is finding them, and I think that's a pretty interesting quote. And the All Music review said that the album was all over the place. It takes a bit of time for it all to make sense, but after a few listens, it falls together. And
Right.
I think that's a pretty good review. I
I
think
think
that's
so.
pretty
I think
accurate.
this is a much more complicated record than Girlfriend.
Hmm.
Girlfriend's pretty wide open, you know. This has many layers you have to peel off to get to it. But once you peel those layers off, it has a lot of reward.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's right up there. And you know, I love this record. Like I said, this is my number 2. Close number 2 to Girlfriend. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
so too.
we've been
Now I feel like I didn't rate them high enough. Let's just say this: they're
Okay,
both
go
really
ahead.
good.
They're both good.
Yeah.
If you see these in the cheapy bins, which you do,
Hmm.
pick them up.
Don't leave them there. Take them home.
Oh my God, no, we don't want them to end up in a landfill.
No.
That's what I've always been preaching. If you see something, give it a shot. You know, I think there's a lot of reward here. That's all
I
I'm
think
going
so
to
too.
say. I'm going to say. Well, Todd, I think it's really hard to critique 2 albums you really like.
Right.
But
The
Todd and
next
I, if
show
we
is
give it
not
a
going to be a whole
shot,
lot different from this
it's
one.
it's not going to be a whole lot different. But that's all right. It's fun to talk about
Although
this
those
stuff.
two albums go together really well, the next two.
They do. They do. I agree
They could almost
100%.
be a 2 record set.
Yeah. So Todd, what do you have coming up? How's Rush
Um,
fans?
Rush fans is really fun. We've been doing these things. We've done 2 of them so far, and both of them have been so successful that we had like little extra parts that we put like a little part 2 of. But we did this thing called Great Taker Let's Debate, where a person from the Rush fans team gives a bunch of takes about Rush, and then you say either great take or you say, "Oh, I have a problem with that take. Let's debate." And so that's been a lot of fun. And there's I've been on this show a couple of times. I'm been on Ryan's Final Destination. I'm about to do some things with Ryan Gavalier and Rock Daydream Nation. I've got a couple of things coming up, and I've been on my Music Corner with John Clauser's channel, and so I expect to probably be on that channel again. And that's about it.
He's a busy man.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot.
Um, I'll plug some stuff. I didn't get any graphics ready. It took me all day to get all these graphics ready. I've been like, well, I don't, you know.
They're very good.
Well, I keep getting more elaborate, and it takes a lot more time. You know,
I
trying to
like the
produce.
color coordination.
I'm trying to produce something for you folks. High production costs and standards. Well, what do we have coming up? We're doing a Beach Boys Love You show. Can't remember who's all on there, but we're looking at Beach Boys, the record Beach Boys Love You. We're probably going to be looking at a lot of Beach Boys stuff. That's coming down the line. Obscure Albums number 3. I think that'll probably do it. We're probably not going to do any more of those, but that's coming up. We're looking at The Doors, where we're doing 2 tracks from each. That's
2
coming
favorite
up.
tracks?
2 favorite tracks from the Morrison era.
Okay.
That I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, me too.
And that's going to be with Reed Little. So it's going to be Todd, Reed, and I. So it's going to be, get ready, kids. Get ready to take notes. And then Ryan Gavalier and I, on the same day, Todd, are doing a Cheap Trick episode where we're looking at Heaven Tonight and Dream Police. Again, that's going to be a short episode.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What can I really say about those two records? They're
Right.
perfect. And then that Friday the 1st, there's another Friday night chat. And we're doing records that changed your life. You know, you've had those moments, and this one definitely would fit. Girlfriend would fit that to a T. Because when I heard it, it changed my life. It really did. So
I'm going to have to hop into that one because I have a couple of those.
I have no idea who's going to show up. It could just be me talking. But hopefully people will just come in and out and we can just have a conversation, and it's just laid back, easy going. You know, if you have nothing to do, pop in and say hey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I wanted to mention too that one of the things I'm doing on Ryan's Vinyl Destination with Ryan Gavalier is we're ranking the Cars albums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a great one.
Which again is there's not that many of them, and it's like they're all number one. So I have to put a lot of thought into that. I could rank them pretty fast.
Last night I did that Target CD show. I went live and showed my Target CDs. I showed all my Cars Target CDs. Yeah, I like
those. Would be nice to have.
They sound great.
I saw one in the shop the other day. The best of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yep.
It was one of those turquoise blue.
Yeah,
Atlantic
it's a teal color with a red target. Yeah, I got that. Every now and then you see them. They're never expensive anymore. I mean, like I was talking on that show, man. Back when that all started out in the early 2000s, we got everybody into them, and the market just went through the roof.
You know? My local shop has a copy of Donald Fagen, The Nightfly, and I got really excited when I saw it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the ones that's got the target shape on it, the scope shape on it, but the middle of it it's silver. It's not a color.
Yeah, but, it's a Japanese one.
Yeah, but it's Japanese, and I got real excited. And the shop owner said, "Well, why don't you take it home and compare it to yours? Because I have the later, one, the later regular Warner Brothers one." And I compared it, and it was almost the same. So I ended up taking it back to the shop because somebody had written their name on it. And I was like, oh, if somebody hadn't written their name on it, I'd stick with the Target CD. But
well, they're
all over the place. Sometimes they're a lot better. Sometimes they're only a little better or about the same.
But it depends.
Yeah.
A lot of those original CDs were all flat masters. Like in the show last night, I was talking about the Fleetwood Mac Rumors Target. If anybody knows that, on the Steve Hoffman site, this has been talked about plenty of times. If you want to hear the actual master tape of Rumors, flat, no EQ, no futzing, no, look for that Target West German or the Japan Rumor CD. It is a flat transfer. It's not a beautiful listen.
Yeah.
Because it's very bland. The master tape is very bland.
That's one of the things that, that's a good example. I actually think that Rumors, there are 3 versions of Rumors. There's the one you just talked about, the Target version, the made in Japan. There's the later one that's just the regular Warner Brothers one. That's the most common. And then there's the remaster from late 90s, early 2000s, maybe like 2004, 2005, something like that. I want to think
2006, 2000.
I have it.
Anyway,
you may be right. You may be right.
The last batch of remasters.
But what I was going to say about those is they're all good. It just depends on what you prefer. And now some albums are not like that at all. Sometimes the Made in Japan one is the best one, but Groomers is one of those ones where they're all different. The first one doesn't have any EQ. The other 2 are EQ'd in a certain way, but they didn't ruin them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they ruin them.
The thing is with those, if you're an audiophile and you've got a $35,000 system, you don't want something that has been all jacked up with EQ. Because at that system, it's so high definition. You want something that's flat so you don't have to EQ it. You want that original Target CD that's just the master tape.
Yeah, but if you don't listen have to that.
Well, then it's more geared to the low-end audio person. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to critique anybody.
Well, no, and
But
there's
if you
one.
want to hear the master tape, you can.
We're going way all of, we're going
I
way
know,
off
it's
topic here
fine.
with Fleetwood Mac, but there's one Fleetwood Mac album, Mirage,
Right.
where the original CD of Mirage, which I think is after it's after the Target era.
No,
Because
it's not.
oh, it's
Well,
not? Okay.
No, Mirage, is that got that? No.
But Mirage was
Keep talking.
mastered. It was mastered way too low, so it's way too quiet. So when they remastered that, in I don't know 7 or 8 years ago, that was a necessary remaster. I think it looks like Grant has gone to find his Target version of Fluid Mac Mirage. I'll grab the other version just in case.
All right, here,
see.
look, real quick. I know we're going all over, but we're good on time. Just to show you guys, if you want to check out other episode of Target CDs, because I love this stuff. Here's what it looks like. This is.
Oh, there's the rumors. Okay.
Yeah, if you.
Yeah, I would buy that in a
this,
second if I saw it. Yeah.
This is what has a flat transfer of the master, according to Steve Hoffman, audio mastering engineer, who's heard the master tape, and he says sounds exact. It's just straight. So you want that. But just to listen to what they've done to it later, they really jacked up the bass and they really jacked up the high end on it. This sounds a lot more like, it's funny, Todd, this sounds a lot more like Altered Beast.
Oh, is that the regular Warner Brothers, the cheapy bin one? Yeah.
No, but the Target CD sounds a lot like
Oh, that's what
Altered
you've got.
Beast.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
the Richard
Yeah.
Dashwood
I see what you're
production.
saying.
Very similar. So a lot of this might be mastered, but here's Mirage.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the original first pressing of Mirage.
Okay. That's a terrible sounding CD. It's way too quiet.
Well, quiet's not real. That doesn't mean it sounds bad. Quiet.
No,
means
it
you can
doesn't.
Turn up the volume.
You are correct, but that one is an extreme example.
But don't forget, Todd, when these came out, we didn't have the loudness wars. These aren't all jacked up like today. All the dynamic ranges on them. You know what I mean. A lot of CDs now are way too. Woo-hoo. And then let me show you this since I pulled it by accident. Donald Fagen, the Nightfly, original West German. This CD sounds
okay.
good.
The one that I've seen is not silver in the middle. It's just transparent.
Yeah, that's the Japanese.
Okay.
This is the West German.
Okay.
But anyway, check out that episode on Target.
See, I should
CDs.
watch the episode. I just learned something.
Oh man, it was, no one cares about that stuff. But why not make an episode of it? Here's a Fleetwood Mac 1975. I'm just geeky. That's all. But anyway.
I only have a couple. I got rid of one. I got rid of my 90125, which I never should have done.
That. It's pink and green.
With the hot pink, yeah.
That CD's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got all the Yes remasters. Remember when Rhino redid them?
Yeah, Rhino Electra. Yeah.
I've got all those. But you know what? They stopped. 90210 was the last one that they did. 90215.
90125.
I keep getting that screwed up.
But you know what I've heard? We just talked about it hasn't come out yet, but we just talked about Big Generator by Yes on Contrarians. And Big Generator was remastered recently, not too long ago, for part of a box set of I think it's a Japanese box set or something like that. Right. 2011, I think.
Yep.
But Atlantic Atco has never done a remaster, but I have heard, and I looked for evidence of this on the internet, and I couldn't find it. But I heard sometime in the 90s that Big Generator was part of something that they call a silent remaster, where engineers went and tweaked it and then re-released it with the same catalog number. And I've heard that Big Generator is one of those, and that Phil Collins' Face Value is one of those.
Yeah, they probably remastered Face Value from the original Target CD. Usually, like on the inner groove of the CD, it'll have like a number 1 if it's a Warner Brothers, or a number 2 after the catalog number. That means it's a secret remaster. If it's got
that's
1 or a 2,
I think is fascinating, because how would you know that? You'd have to.
Steve Hoffman's site. That's where I get all this. It's just like an encyclopedia of knowledge. But I do have all those Yes CDs from Japan, the remasters.
Mhm.
Big Generator has like 4 bonus tracks. But they stopped with Big Generator. But I got all of them. I got Yes Songs, the Japanese remaster, and I've got Yes. What is it? Yes. What was the other live album?
Yes, shows.
Yes Shows. They did Yes Shows 2 part of that series, and it's got a bonus track on it. I could pull it, but I'm not. Trust me, they exist. So I've
Right.
got the entire Warner's catalog on that series, and it's got the same graphics. Like on the spine of the CD, it'll say the Yes remasters. Even those say that. It's great.
Yeah.
They're out there, and the Yes songs has a real thick. It's not a Fat Boy case, but it's like a real thick frosted jewel case.
Oh, okay.
It
That's
opens
interesting.
up. It's it's got a nice thick booklet.
Because the only version of Yes Songs that is domestically available in the U.S. is the early 1990s remaster
Yeah,
series,
and those are okay.
which is not the best ones to get, but for some
Right.
reason, Yes Songs has not progressed past that one in the States. So this is a
Yeah.
good topic for another show.
Yeah, we could talk about the Yes remasters.
Uh-huh.
That would be a great. But just talk about the Yes remasters in general and the bonus tracks and stuff. Just something like that, or the Japanese CDs, or I don't know. Kids, there's going to be so many topics. We have topics to go for years. That's all I'm going to say. You know. The other thing that I launched today, and then we're going to get out of here. What is it? I can't tell how long we've been on. We're about ready to wrap it up. But
Yeah.
I just launched. What I'm going to do is another new series called This is Power Pop. And so it'll be like a monthly show where I'm going to get a panel and throw out a power pop album. Hopefully it's an album no one has listened to, and I'll present it to the people, the panel. They will review it, and then we'll all come back and talk about it. And I'm starting out with the first Raspberries album because this is the first show. The Raspberry very early in the power pop world. It might have started with either them or Big Star, technically, or Badfinger. Maybe Badfinger might have been the beginning. But I thought we'd start out with have everyone look at the Raspberries' first album. So that was the assignment, and I thought it would be fun because when I did start this channel, I really wanted to hit a lot of power pop because I love power pop.
I have a lot to learn about power pop. There are some power pop staples that I'm not familiar with, so
Well,
I'm
there are
looking
some
forward
that
to that.
I'm unfamiliar with too. And I think what I'll do is it's going to be a learning experience for me too, because I'll pick an artist. I don't know. Let's say the Lambrettas, which are a power pop band. I've never really heard them, but if we can like learn together on some of this, I mean, of course there are some staples that Big Star, the Raspberries, Kiss Unmasked. That's considered a power pop album,
And I think not a bad one.
and not a bad
Topic for
one.
another show.
A topic for another show, and it might be on the power pop series. So I figure we'll just do an episode a month, and why not? Maybe we can all learn something. That's really what it's about on this channel, is to learn something. Get the people turned on to something new. So, Todd, let's wind this one up.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming on. Again, it's always been a great discussion. I know we went off track a little bit, but it is what it is, and it's
We're under an
fun.
hour.
We're under an hour. If you don't like it when we're talking CDs, just turn it off. It's fine. But anyway, don't get off, Todd, after we're done because we'll set up the day for the next Matthew Sweet one.
Okay.
So up next, we're going to do 100% Fun and Son of Altered Beast.
Oh, we're not doing Blue Sky on
Well,
Mars. Okay.
well,
No.
maybe we could discuss that
Okay.
real quick. Because Son of Altered Beast is really an EP.
Yeah.
We actually probably should have put
We
that
could have stuck
in
it at
with.
the end of this.
We should have. This is what we'll end up doing. We'll do an honorable mention for the next show. So let's look at Blue Sky on Mars, 100% Fun, And we'll just briefly talk about Son of Altered Beast, just so we're inclusive. Because it was kind of like a, I don't know, a major release, but you used to see it quite a bit. They were pushing it at the time.
They were.
So we'll just talk about it, but we'll do 100% fun and Blue Sky on Mars. Sound good?
Sounds good. The Brendan O'Brien era.
The Brendan hey, and there's nothing wrong with it. I like what he did with Matthew Sweet.
Me too.
If anybody knows Brendan O'Brien, he worked with Pearl Jam. He was kind of the hot producer during that time period. What else did he do any Soundgarden stuff? Do you know?
I feel like he did, but I'm not the best person to ask about that.
Stone Temple
Put it in the
Pilots, maybe?
comments.
Put it in the comments. Stone Temple Pilots.
Possibly.
But he was a big deal,
He
and
was
he
the
did a
hit
lot of great
producer,
stuff.
yeah.
Great producer. So that's what we'll look at next month. Thanks for everybody. Please subscribe, like, make a comment. Let's get these comments rolling. Life's too short. Let's talk some music. So on
Agreed.
behalf of Grant Arthur and
Todd
Evans, good night.
Good night.